In this video, we're going to derive the probability density function of a complete set of order statistics. So let's say we have an IID sample of continuous random variables. You may recall that the continuous part is actually pretty important because we want to make sure that the there are no ties. There are no ties in the random variables that we observe. Okay, so they're going to be continuous, and we're going to assume that they're IID, and so they have a common PDF function f. And we're going to derive the PDF of all n order statistics, x1, x2, up to xn. Notice once again this little subscript with the parentheses around it indicating the specific order statistic. We're going to evaluate that PDF at x1, x2, up to xn. And so we're going to show that this PDF is the same as n factorial times the product of all the marginal densities multiplied by this indicator function right here, that x1 is less than x2 is less than everything else is less than xn minus 1, less than xn. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that we don't have, for example, x1 being larger than x2. That would be problematic. Okay, so we're actually going to look at a pretty creative approach to this that the book discusses. We're going to use the first fundamental theory of calculus really to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to consider a set of observed values, y1 less than x1 less than or equal to y2 less than x2 up to yn being greater than or equal to xn minus 1 and being less than xn. And we are going to look at the probability that x1 is less than the first order statistic, which is less than or equal to x1. Sorry, this should be a y1, already messing up. And then we have y2 is less than the second order statistic, is less than or equal to lowercase x2. And we're going to continue that pattern up to yn less than the nth order statistic, less than or equal to lowercase xn. Okay, and what we're going to ask ourselves is, when is it possible to have the order statistics having this characteristic? Okay, so we're going to imagine listing off all the possible outcomes of where this could satisfy this event. And so we have the probability. So one possibility is that we just have that x1, the actual x1 is between y1 and x1, the actual x2 is between y2 and x2, and so on. So we could have y1 less than capital X1 less than or equal to lowercase x1, and then capital X2 is between y2 and x2, and then capital Xn is between yn, this should just be less than, and this less than or equal to lowercase xn like that. Okay, so we have the actual observed uh, random variables between yi and xi. Okay, so that's one possible outcome. But we could just as easily have had x2 being between y1 and x1, and x1 being between y2 and x2, and then x3 is still between y3 and x3, and so on. Okay, so that's one possibility. But then we can imagine other possibilities, right? So we can list out a whole bunch of these. And so how many different possible permutations of these x's are there to be between yi and xi? And the answer is there's going to be n factorial permutations. And because this event right here is disjoint from that event, and so on, okay, none of them occur at the same time, then what that means, because what it means is that the probability of each one of these disjoint events is going to be the same. And so what's going to happen is this is going to simplify to n factorial times the probability that x1, whoops, messed up there again, y1 less than x1 less than or equal to x1, there we go, Okay, that's because all those different permutations are all going to end up being the same probability that the values are between the different numbers that we're listing here. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And because x1, x2 up to xn are IID, I mean actually because they're independent, I should say really, because they're independent, we get n factorial times the probability that y1 is less than capital X1 is less than or equal to lowercase x1, times the probability that the random variable x2 is between y2 and lowercase x2, and so on. And so the nth random variable is between yn and xn. Okay, and we can write that as n factorial times the product from I equals 1 to n, the probability that yi is between the random variable xi and lowercase xi, the value xi. And because they have the common CDF function capital F, we can write this as this probability as the probability that xi, capital Xi is less than or equal to xi is the CDF function evaluated at xi, and we subtract the probability that xi is less than or equal to yi, and so we get the product being that. Okay, so what about the fundamental theorem of calculus? So a simplified version of the first fundamental theorem of calculus is something like for x in some closed interval ab, where those are actual numbers, a less than b, the derivative of the integral of a up to x, some function f of t, integrating with respect to t, take that derivative with respect to x, is going to equal f of x. And so we're going to use that in our proof here. So we have, actually, maybe I'll do this on another slide here, or do it down here. Not really sure what just happened. Everything just disappeared, but actually kind of works in my favor. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we have that the probability that the order statistics, this should just be less than there. So the nth order statistic is equal to xn. Okay. So we have that. Okay. And just from the properties of probabilities and density functions, we know that we can obtain that probability. We have this n-dimensional integration where we're integrating each one of these values from yi up to xi with respect to the density, which we don't know. That's okay. We don't need to know it at this point. And so we're using the arguments u1 to un, and we're taking the integral with respect to u1 up to un. Okay. And from our previous work, we know that this probability on the left-hand side here, this thing, equals n factorial times the product from I equals 1 to n of f of xi minus f of yi. Okay. Then by the fundamental theorem of calculus, if we take the derivative of the thing on the left, that probability, okay, and so we keep going through here, we take the derivative for all these all these values, okay, with all these different x's of this integral here. And actually, I just noticed this should be up to x1. So y1 up to x1 of this, oops, did it again. Okay, this PDF of the n order statistics, which we don't know that yet, but as we'll see, it's going to fall out. And we're taking the integral with respect to, what's u1 up to un. And because we have this relationship where these two things are equal, this is equal to this, we want to take the derivative with respect to xn up to x1 of n factorial times this product from I equals 1 to n, f of xi minus f of yi. Okay, so we need to compute that derivative. How do we do that? Okay, so I'm going to make a claim. So we're not going to actually do this. You can actually expand this out. If you use Wolfram Alpha or something like that, you can kind of see how this simplifies in certain situations. But we're actually going to do a proof by induction. We're going to make this, this I think is probably going to be the easiest. So my claim is that we take the derivative with respect to all those x's of that n factorial times that product, that is going to equal n factorial times f of x1, f of xn. So these are the marginal densities of the x's. And there's technically an indicator function floating around from the very beginning where we have, x1 is less than x2 is less than x3 and so on. But we haven't been worrying about it because it just carries through these calculations and this is a lot of writing. So that's my claim. And so let's prove this by induction. So we'll do it trivially for n equals 1 just for fun. So we take the derivative with respect to x1. There's only one random variable. And we take the derivative of 1 factorial multiplied by f of x1 minus capital F of y1 with respect to x1. And so this is a constant, right? It just pulls out through. There's no x's in this, so that's going to go to 0. And then the derivative of the CDF function is going to be the PDF. And so this simplifies to 1 factorial f of x1, which satisfies our claim. Okay, well, maybe that's a little bit too trivial. You're not convinced. We'll do it for n equals 2. So now we take the derivative of this with respect to x2 and x1. And we're going to get 2 factorial. Okay, so we're just doing this part right here. 2 factorial, and then there's only two cases, so we'll just write them out. So we have f of x1 minus f of y1, that difference, times f of x2 minus f of y2. Okay, so we're taking the derivative of this thing right here. Okay, the 2 factorial is just a constant. It's going to float on out. We can see that the second part here doesn't have any x1s there, only this first part right here. If we take the derivative of f of x1 minus f of y1, this is going to go to 0. Okay, and this is going to be the PDF, and so we're going to get 2 factorial times the density evaluated at x1 multiplied by f of x2 minus capital F of y1. Okay, and now we're taking the derivative with respect to x2. These are treated as constants. This doesn't have an x2 there. This first part does. And so we're going to get 2 factorial f of x1 times f of x2. Okay, so it's satisfied for n equals 2. So to do this by induction, we're going to assume true for n equal to k minus 1. And then we're going to show for n equal to k. All right. So continuing our proof here, we're going to have for n equal to k, we're going to take the derivative with respect to xn all the way down to x1 of n factorial times the product from I equals 1 to n, f of xi minus f of yi. And the trick here is we'll just try to write this in such a way that we can make use of what we assumed in the previous step. And so this is the same as the derivative with respect to all those x's of n times f of, and so basically I'm going to factor out the part that's the n. So I'm going to have f of xn minus f of yn, have that off by itself. And I can multiply that by n minus 1 factorial times that product from I equals 1 to n, f of xi minus f of yi. And this thing right here, so I guess I can take this a little bit further. I'm going to factor this thing right here out of most of the derivatives. I'm going to get d dxn n times f of xn minus f of yn multiplied by all the other derivatives of the remaining stuff. N minus 1 factorial. Oops, and this should be to n minus 1, right? So we factored out the other one. So I equals 1 to n minus 1. The difference between f of xi minus f of yi. But from our previous work in the induction step there, where we assumed it was true for n equal to k minus 1, okay, we're going to get d dxn of this stuff. And from what we are already assuming, this has to be n minus 1 factorial times f of x1 up to f of x n minus 1, right? That's what we assumed in the previous step. Okay, and then now all this stuff right here is, these are constants with respect to xn. We can factor it out if we wanted to. When we take this derivative, this is going to be 0 since there's no xn. This is going to go down to the density of xn. And so this is going to simplify to n times n minus 1 factorial times the density evaluated at xn times f of x1 to f of xn minus 1, which equals n factorial times the product of all of those densities. And then technically, that indicator function has been floating around, okay? And so I'll write it this way. This is a slightly different notation, but x1 less than x2 up to xn, and we are complete.